What's up, everybody? All right, guys. Going to give you a little more thorough Thursday report just prior to this Skeeter event. So, welcome to the studio. Mike McFarland here. Lake Fork public report coming at you right now. 402.21 is the lake level. We're dropping very, very slowly. Clarity still 0 to 1 foot. That's in most of the lake. The more north you go, it's starting to change some funny colors, summer colors, which is more of a brownish, not mud, but like not whiskey water either. Whiskey water is clear, so I wanted to say like a tan color, but it's just getting that summer brown. 79 to 85 degrees is the parameter. 85 being the end of the day, 79 in the morning, the crack of dawn. This week, basically 5 days in a row so far, 4, we've had no winds. I mean, hardly any winds at all. And that's a good thing to a degree. Wind is your friend. We like wind. We need wind for better bites. Wind camouflages. It moves things around. It stirs up stuff. Stirs up plankton. It helps a bigger fish ambush. There's no doubt about it. Okay. But without the wind this week, the temperatures are really escalating very quickly, and that's changing things very quickly, and that's what you need to know. I've been talking to you about kind of a hodgepodge of fishing, shallow fishing, deep fishing, everything kind of in between. There's a major transition happening right now, and there's not a shallow water bite, and there's not a deep water bite, so to speak. It's in between. Early morning, that first hour, you might find a few bites shallow. Okay, if you're in the right spot, but it's not everywhere. So points and flats and red clay points and shallow flats and things, you still can catch a topwater fish or two. You still can catch a fluke fish, a weightless fluke, maybe a spinnerbait or a chatterbait or a square bill thrown in the right spot for that first little bit. But most of the guys that are fishing shallow are starting to search offshore. If you start offshore deep, early first thing in the morning, they're not deep. They're in between. And realistically, what's happening right now is there is a massive amount of fish in suspension, anywhere from about 8 to 12 to 14 feet of water. The bait, you need to find the balls of bait. Don't be confused at what bait is on Fork. There's so much small stuff. You have all kinds of balls of things going by that look like bait, and they can be fried, they can be crappie, they can be baby yellow bass, baby white bass, baby carp, baby everything, baby bowfin. The shad themselves will come up as finer pixel dots on your sonar. It will be more of the purple, more of the, we used to call it purple haze. If your sonar, your 2D sonar is set right, generally shad will not show yellow in them. Threadfin shad a ball of threadfin shad should not show yellow in them. Yellow is your hardest return in a sonar. Blue is your softest return. Red is your semi-soft return. A dense ball of shad has no bone. There's nothing hard in them, period. So it's a mix of between blue and red. And when you have blue and red mixed, you kind of get a purple haze. That's a very cool word we used to speak 20 years ago in the FLW. Look for purple haze. You're looking for the shad, purple haze. When you have balls of bait that go by and you look at the 2D and you look at your sonar and they're little hesh marks, tiniest little hesh marks like pencil marks, there's some shape to them. Those aren't the threadfin shad. There's possibility they're gizzard shad. Usually gizzard shad will scatter a little more. But you got to really kind of learn what bait is and what the other balls of little baby stuff are, because you have to find the shad right now. If you find the shad, 10 to 14 feet, you see the shad ball round, nothing's on it. You see the shad ball elongated and moving, fish are pushing it. Points, flats, a lot of the areas that are just the beginnings of offshore areas, the mouths of coves, the mouths of spawning grounds, the first deep water closest to there, as everything's retracting out, that's where you're going to find it. Shallow diving crankbaits, and I mean not square bills, I mean like 8 to 10 foot, 8 to 12 foot diving crankbaits are perfect for the morning. You may take a spoon and just kind of swim and flutter the spoon. As we talked about, flutter spoons right now are working really good. If you can find bait that's on the bottom, that's starting to happen now too. That's a bonus because the fish will eat from the bottom. In those areas you can use Texas rigs, shaky heads, jigs, stuff like that, bottom contacting baits. If they're not on the bottom, again, it needs to be crankbaits, it needs to be a spoon, it needs to be a drop shot with an extra long leader so your bait's up. It needs to be a long Carolina rig. And remember with a Carolina rig that the biggest mistake we make is we use the leader. We use fluorocarbon leader. Fluorocarbon sinks. Right now I want monofilament leader on my Carolina rig, 5 feet of it, so that my bait will hover in the upper water column more and fall slower and give them a chance to see it. Once it's down on the bottom, they're not looking for food on the bottom. Shaky heads. If you're doing shaky heads, lighten the head so it falls slower. If you're doing a big ribbon tail worm, lighten the head so it falls slower. You have more time to see it, more time to get it while it's falling. Once it's on the bottom, if you spend a lot of time with bottom contact, it's not happening right now until later in the day. You get 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, things start to change. Deeper they go. 10, 20, 22 feet on the bottom. Deep diving crankbaits like 10XDs and jigs start to come around. The shaky head contacting the bottom with big worms starts to come around. But you guys in the Skeeter event, you're done by then. Okay? So I highly recommend a couple of things. Number one, try this new color from Lake Fork Trophy Lures, and it's California 420. So a lot of the baits now that they've had, the ring fry, the big worm, the hyper stick, those baits are out now in the color 420, California 420. It's an excellent color. Anything kind of black and red on fork, a lot of red flake works really well. That is a hot commodity color right now for stuff that you're using. Take a Carolina rig with a 5-foot a 5-foot monofilament leader and a California colored 420 hyper stick from Lake Fork Trophy Lures. You'd be surprised at the results you might get with some of these spots, letting that bait fall slow. All right, a couple more tips for you. Fish slow. This afternoon, I was drop shotting with my client. I had a single guy today. I don't normally fish very often, but I was drop shotting, trying to find unders, trying to catch fish with him beyond catching big fish and the overs. I actually had a text message I was answering, and my drop shot sat for probably over 2 minutes while I was texting, and the fish almost jerked the rod out of my hands. And both my client and myself both said, oh, let it soak a little bit more. Let it soak a little bit more. Don't rush it. Okay, that's another public tip. I told you I'd come back Thursday and try and help you guys out as much as I can. Brim beds. Side scan and find the brim beds. There are bass raiding and feeding on brim in those brim beds. Square bills in those brim beds, slow rolled swim baits in those, swim baits, slow rolled spinner baits, and any Texas rig worm that's in a brim color, watermelon candy, believe it or not, even just a simple plum color, which for some reason works well around the brim beds. All right, those are also some things that you can do. Here's my opinion of this tournament. There won't be very many overs. Just like Mega Bass didn't produce many overs. Legends, 3 days of the Legends had 4 overs. There won't be many overs caught in a day and a half at the Skeeter event. There will be an over that wins a boat. But remember in this tournament that an under has a shot to win a boat. There's 2 boats they're giving away this year. One for the biggest over and one for the biggest under. The smallest under, wouldn't that be fun? The biggest under, okay? This is just food for thought. If you chase the offshore schooling fish and you catch a 15.5-inch schooling under, he's going to weigh less than if you find a residential 15.5-inch under. They're 2 different kinds of fish. They're the same fish, they're bass. But a residential bass is going to live on a dock, and it's not going to leave there. Maybe hunt a little bit in the adjacent area, immediate area, and back to the dock. That's the home. That's a residential bass. He lives on the dock. He does not cruise and hunt and travel the lake chasing bait like an athlete. I'll say it again. Drop shotting bridge corners, pylons, brush piles, finding open water schooling fish, and weighing a 15.5-inch under. That fish is going to weigh less than if you catch a 15.5-inch fish off of a dock. Not all docks hold fish on Lake Fork. You're going to have to do some homework. I know it's the end of the week and you're getting this report with not a lot of time to do some homework, but just go fish the docks. Pay attention to docks, number one, that are long enough that reach deep water. Pay attention to docks that have the channel that swings near them, or ledges or something. You need a dock that has some transitioning from shallow to deep water or deep water nearby. That's important. A dock that's on a point. A dock that can be a home for some residential bass. And the bottom line is a 15 and a half or a 15 and a 7/8 inch fish caught from a dock is going to win a boat this year. That's it. What kind of baits would I use? Finesse jigs, shaky heads, smaller round ball shaky heads, drop shot finesse worms, weightless Senkos, weightless flukes. Heck, I might pitch a spinnerbait and slow roll it around some docks. That's a good deal. If I got some bait in the area, a spinnerbait in docks really goes well, especially if you can pitch it well. You can keep it under and pitch it in all the shadows. Another tip for fishing docks. Never, ever, ever fish the underneath of the dock first. If the dock is holding fish and you go all the way underneath and catch a fish right away, you spook the rest of them while you catch that first one. Fish the dock outsides first. Fish the bridge, the corners first. Fish the walkway first. Fish the outsides first, then approach the insides. And at least, especially until you've determined where they are. You'll discover whether they're on the walkways or whether they're on the outside corners or on the inside poles. And then dissect it accordingly and be sneaky. Take fish from each side. Don't go to the center and pull one fish when you could maybe have 4 or 5 from one dock. A lot of docks have brush piles and junk underneath them. I can tell you firsthand, they're tricky. If you get stuck in them, you're better off to just break off than to go in there and spook the dock with your boat and try and get your bait back. Break it off or you spook those fish. If you do don't break it off and go get it, just go to the next dock. There'll be a lot of competition on docks, but that's kind of how I would approach this. If I was allowed to fish this tournament, if I was going to fish this tournament, with everything I've seen this week, I would probably drop the big fish potentially, at least until afternoon. The first 5 hours of this thing, I would focus on docks, period, and I would literally try and weigh in unders until about noon. Once noon hit, the last couple hours, I'd probably go out to some of the deep holes, deep structure, community holes, humps, long points, ledges, and I'd throw big worms, football jig, shaky head, big Carolina rig with a long leader, and I would definitely, always going to swing for the vents, hoping to win a big fish. I love catching big fish. But remember, again, they're giving away a boat for the biggest over and a boat, 2 boats, and a boat for the biggest under. All right, that's an awesome deal. What an event from Skeeter Boats, 75th anniversary, big show right here at Lake Fork. Going to be a lot of fun. Be safe, be careful. Couple quick tips. When you're running in the buoy lanes, don't shut down in the buoy lanes. Someone's liable to come right over the back of you. Ease your way out of the lanes. Make sure you can. If you're way up north, sometimes you can't ease much. But do something. Someone's behind you. Make sure they don't run you over. Don't shut down right in the buoy lanes. Okay? You can't always just run out of them. But just pay attention. Be careful. There'll be 1,000 boats. And I really, really dread to have anything go wrong with anybody. Please pay attention. Wear your PFD. Click into your kill switch. It's the law. Make sure you got your license. Make sure that you're covering stuff so that you know the rules. You know the size of the fish. You know that it can't touch 16 inches. It has to touch 24 inches. Okay? Make sure that so you don't ruin your whole deal by getting disqualified, DQ'd. I've seen that happen every year too. Poor guys bring in the wrong size fish. And other than that, have a great time. Be safe. Be respectful to other anglers. I hate talking about this, but I'm going to bring it up. This is a public lake. Nobody owns any spots. Nobody owns any areas. There's not a guide out there that deserves or earns more areas or spots than another. Or you, if it's your first time here, don't let nobody kick you off. Don't let nobody pressure you. Just ignore when there's dumb stuff being said, if it's being said. Hopefully it's not being said. Hopefully y'all realize this is a public parking lot. We don't have rage on the highway, so you go to jail. And if you have rage or stupidity on the lake, there is harassment of anglers. There is a law against it. Get your phone out, take a picture, catch the numbers off their boat, and if you feel like you have to, press charges. It's a public lake. Be respectful to others, but nobody owns the lake. All right, and when you have thousands of boats, you will have 1,000 boats on this lake. Man, You just got to get along. You have to accept the fact that other boats will be around you. Other boats will be on the same spot as you. Heck, watch the MLF anglers. Watch the BAS the other day. The BAS and the Sabine, two anglers literally were fishing the same stretch of shoreline, and they passed each other and gave each other knuckles. Nobody cursed each other. Nobody got mad. You're on my water. You're in my area. Go fishing, have fun. You're here to see who's the best, not who has the biggest mouth or the biggest, hey, you know what. So remember that too. Because old Michael McFarland's had to share that around here this year, and this boy's done with that stuff. Try that on me and watch what happens. Charges will be applied. Guaranteed. All right, enough of that. That's it. Let's have fun. That's what we're here for. Let's remember the name of the Lake Fork. It's an ambassador. It's a beautiful, awesome place. It's one of the best places in the whole world. Let's keep it that way. Let's make it shine that way. Let's catch fish. Let's showcase how beautiful the lake can be and how beautiful us and our hearts can be. That's what I want to see. All right? All right. Crappie fishing. Quick more reports. Crappie's still good. Really, really, really good. Man, I'm watching these crappie guys kill them every single day. It seems like about 18 to 28 feet of water. Pretty much deep trees, deep brush piles. Get out in those creeks and the creek swings and find some of those deeper trees. They're offshore, both black and whites. Hand-tied jigs, black chartreuses. I know that some pinks and whites with some minnows on them are working well. And your bridge pylons. A lot of your bridge pylons in about 10 to 18 feet of water. So you can actually get in the shade on the bridge pylons. The bridge pylons like the 514, 2946, even the main bridge is 515 east, 515 west. Those places are producing crappie too. And it's really nice because you can get out of the sun. You can be in the shade. Just remember, if you're fishing bridge pylons, you don't want to fish the bridge pylon that you might be tied to. You don't want to fish vertical on top of them. You'll catch a lot more if you cast to them. Let it sink, pendulum swing through them, and bring it by them. Crappie like to chase bait like bass. You'll catch more if you get them chasing baits than if you try and drop it on their head. All right? Catfish. Man, if you like to eat catfish, Lake Fork's a place for you. I've never seen a place that has more catfish in my entire life. I'm talking about 2 to 4 pound channel catfish. You have 1 to 4 pound channel catfish. The key is to bait the hole the day before. If you will go the day before and pour out about 5 pounds of cattle cubes from the feed store, literally the feed that they feed cattle, the cubes that they feed cattle, pick a creek swing, find a tree that you can tie to, pour 5 pounds on that in about 18 to 22 feet of water. Or sour maize. Both of those will sink to the bottom. 5 pounds or so on a spot. And come back the next day with whatever you want to fish with. Chicken liver. Night crawlers are expensive. You can use the tub bait, which is really the way to go because it's cheap and you get a little treble hook, put a little tub bait on there, it stinks. You can fill your limit, 25 per person, in no time at all. I mean, you could put 4 people on your boat and catch 100 catfish in less than an hour, hour and a half. I've done it with clients. We don't keep them, we just show them how crazy it is. It's like a swarm of bees the next day. Chum the hole the day before, come back the next day, and fill your freezer with the catfish, man. Lake Fork's place to do it. All right, that's it. If you guys like this, please hit the thumbs up. Comment below. Consider becoming a member. I'm going to finish this video, and I'm going to go in the boat, and I'm going to pull all, I think I got about 16 rods all tied up right now with a whole variation, hodgepodge of how I'm attacking these fish. And I'm going to show the members exactly what I'm doing. Not just the words of, worms and shaky heads and things. I'm going to talk about line sizes. I'm going to talk about locations. I'm going to talk about paces, speeds, attacks, angles. I'm going to really give them the juice. If you're interested in that juice, look in the description below this video. At the bottom of this video, look down in the bottom, and you will see where it says a link to subscribe to members or Let's Talk. Either one you choose. Let's Talk is even another upgrade. It's got more lessons. It's got giveaways and things like that. But go ahead and consider becoming a member, learning even more detailed information about Lake Fork than ever before. Give it a try. And if you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. So other than that, thanks again. I appreciate you for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll come back next Tuesday and tell you a little bit about another report and, of course, how the Skeeter event went down right here on the Go Lake. Thanks for watching. Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide.